I won't be hanging around here long because it's pretty hot outside the lounge room. But they look to be making good progress. This thing is IP23 rated, which means it should be good for water sprays less than 60 degrees from the vertical. It's protected. But the people here seem to think, okay, that means we need to put a roof on it. Okay, so we'll put a roof on it. More money. But we can build a skillion from the end of the tank there across to the, I don't know, make a line of this. So the water off that tips in there and goes down there. But yeah, another project, or another small piece of a project. And on the house, the first of the end fences is in. So here we are near the end of day 2. Going well. From what I was watching on the camera this morning, they've done the electrical cabling from the lower rank up to the upper rank and then further up into the shed. And these folks are doing it the traditional way, manually. That looks like hard yakka. My weather station numbers fed back into underground, and between the temperature and the humidity, underground says currently 32, feels like 40. Okay. As I mentioned previously, this is the complicated part. So there's 3 electronic inverters, 1 for each phase, and the Fronius box that the photovoltaic panels feed into is going to be that one between that panel and the box. Mapping out the wiring for this thing, its conduits, and there'll also be control wires. So there's the control wires going through the wall, and the control wires will let this electronic control unit decide when to start the genset. And now that the genset's in place, these 2 walls can be constructed up to the end here, and the garden bed finished. Well, progress has been made. We have some of the, well, we have all the devices mounted. And the power in one battery will be used to get things started. Well, I've started up the diesel genset. Doesn't seem too noisy. There's a bit of a sound corridor between the building and the tank. I'm going to drain the water out of the accumulator again. Either there is a very small air leak at the top, or the air gets absorbed in the water when it's under pressure, which I think is possible. So every so often I have to partially open that lower valve, and that with the pump turned off, and that lets the water drain out of an open tap over here, and air gets sucked back up into the columns. Can't open it all the way, otherwise the water comes out there. And you can't open it too early after turning off the pump, otherwise you get water sprayed down the end, which I did. Oops. Don't think the guys minded too much. And that pump's running at the moment to fill the tank back up, because they've been using that for the bathroom, and it's taking a while. Because the float valve doesn't work, I've got the valve on the vertical pipe there, open, and that's flowing back in the bottom of the tank. When it starts overflowing over the back, I shall close that valve on the upright pipe. I guess the specs in the quote are guidelines only. It gave two values for fuel capacity. One was 50 litres, the other was 300 litres. The tank on that is 70 litres. And the spec for sound in the quote was 60 dB at 7 metres. Well, these guys are saying 64 dB at 7 metres, which I think is not too bad. My daughter-in-law, City, was sitting on the sofa over there at the front of their house when the generator was running. I asked her whether it was okay, and she said, yeah, it's okay. That's good. I don't have to spend the extra $4,000 for extra sound deadening. It's bolted down to the slab now and earthed, and the steel guys are finished with the fence at the front of the house, so now they're working on the shed for this, which will be from the plane of the end of the tank here across to the fence pretty much. Shallow pitch on it because we don't need to have a steep pitch to run snow off after all. It's just going to run the water off, and we'll have it gated in the plane of the wall of the shed, and there'll be another gate down here, probably this just this side of the that pillar would make sense, so it includes that, and that will keep people from getting in there and interfering with things. Oh yeah, keep small children out. The state of play currently at the end of the day is we appear to be fully operational. For this bit, it's disconnect from the house, and this building is now running off its own autonomous system. The genset's bolted down and operational, and there's a cable there that feeds up to a solar panel, and it has a charge controller on it, and that'll keep the starting battery charged. So this end of the cable to the shed used to have a plug on it, plugged into that power point, and that was how the shed was powered. Well, that's no longer the case. This lead is on a breaker that's currently turned off. What will happen is that we'll replace this orange lead that comes across here and is the alternate supply into this thing. So then it's a matter of Asep changing the parameters in this to say how much current it can draw across that link, which will be 4,500 watts. Yeah, we're getting close to just about unstoppable power, which pleases me. Well, after 5 days of work, Asep and his team have left, and we have a fully operational system here now. Apparently there's lots of parameters in there that you can tweak for when power will be fed to the house, or parameters in this one and the one at the house, so that my original thought was, okay, it's quite straightforward. When we get down to the threshold at the house, we start drawing from power from here, and when the batteries here get down to the threshold, it starts the generator. But you've got many more subtle to what you can do there. You can start things like if the power drain is over 2.5 kilowatts and we're on battery at the house, say okay, anything more than that we start pulling from the shed. So okay, so I guess this will be a learning experience as time goes by to see what magic numbers we need to tweak to make this perform best. But yeah, it's a pretty swish-licky system. Asep put his drone up a couple of times to take some video of the old installation and the new installation, so you can see the two of them in close proximity in these next two clips. So it looks fairly impressive from the sky now, so I'm looking forward to Google Earth updating their images. So it's time to come and see what these guys are up to. So it looks like gates for the west end. Maybe a roof. Not sure. I did my little bit this morning by taking an old plastic box that divider had in the kitchen that she didn't really use for, and turning it into a shroud over the top of this electrical box so it doesn't get rained on. I also relocated this fan to the outside so I could sit in a chair here and do things. The steel guys have got the first bit up, posted this corner, and then a roof well above the machine, which is good. Earlier in the video you saw frame that looks like it's going to be for the doors at this end. Now another frame that I wasn't sure about, that might be for across the south side, which is the right hand side. One bit that I wasn't overly impressed with was we've got the solar panel for the sort of standby charge for the battery for the gen set sitting up there, and that wire was just sitting over the edge of the metal, which I didn't care for much. So I'll put a bit of black pipe on there, and on the top of the vertical bit of fence roof where it goes over. This one here still might need a bit of tweaking so it doesn't rub against that left hand edge. What would be good is get a bit of that black silicone I used earlier and stick it to the middle of that black poly tube. I'll think about that. So there's the charge regulator for that panel up on top. So that just feeds down and in and across and round to the battery behind these doors here, which are locked. Yeah, it's a start. So we're safe from vertical rain at the moment.
Okay, I'm going first.
Here we are in the midst of rice drying season. My sister-in-law Titten just disappeared out of frame because she doesn't want to be on video apparently. So that must be Santa's rice over there. Titten was stirring hers. Or Yaya's rice. It kind of looks like we could use more rice drying area down here. So maybe those 2 extra bits at the sides will be done eventually. So this will be the rice belonging to Jabota, Azra, Dadang, just our immediate family. That plus what's in the warehouse. So here's Jabota's rice, sitting up the other end in the rice factory. So I'm told that next year we'll have twice as much. Okay. Particularly noisy here today. It's clearing everyone these days. But so we're putting vertical bars in the gate for the west end. So they won't be climbable. You can see the end of the roof in the top section of this at this end. But, we're probably not far off painting it up and installing it. Lots of rice being rearranged again today. Jabota asked me yesterday whether they can use this area in front of the shed for rice drying. I said, of course they can. Set up a couple of chairs here for the people who are going to supervise the rice, and there's a fan behind them there to keep them cool. Go for it. At present, over at the house, the old switchboard has got a cutover switch which lets me switch that between the public network, PLN, Public District Network, and off-grid. And given that the load on that switchboard includes the small AC units in the lounge room and bedroom that run 24/7, and Lizu's house, the load on that's typically about 2 kilowatts. So what I've been doing is, in the evenings before we go to bed, I switch that old switchboard across to the PLN to reduce the load on the off-grid system overnight. And this morning when the alarm went off at 4:30 for Jabota's wake up, because she likes to get up at 4:30 to get a start on the day before it gets hot, I went out and I switched that old switchboard back to the off-grid, and then I thought I'll just monitor it for the next couple of hours. Now I saw things that didn't delight me. What I saw was that the off-grid system at the house said, oh, I don't like this, I'm going to draw all the power that I need from the backup supply from the shed. So there it was at 50.7% state of charge on batteries, drawing all of its requirement from the shed. And all that ain't right. So when it got to a more civilised hour, I dropped a note to Asep about that, and at the same time I noticed that the genset had started up, and I checked the state of charge at the shed and it was about 70%. No, well, that ain't right. Genset shouldn't be starting up. So Asep was looking into that. So I've given him what I think should be the rules, and that is that at the house, when it gets to 25% state of charge, then start drawing from the shed system, and not before. And when the shed system gets down to 22% state of charge, start the generator. When the shed batteries get back up to 35% state of charge, or the solar input exceeds the load and the genset's been running for a minimum of 10 minutes, shut it down. So we'll see whether those things happen. But yeah, so a little bit of tuning to go. I hope eventually to be able to say, right, I'm going to switch the old switchboard at the house across to off-grid and leave it there all night and see what happens. But obviously if I did that at the moment, yeah, it wouldn't be good. We'll be starting the genset and still have lots of charge left in the batteries at the house. So that ain't right. But we'll get there. It's all a learning experience. But it's Friday, so I'd better wrap up this video and upload it to meet my normal weekly schedule. And I see now that I've got to go and get a ladder around here and some super glue and glue that vertical conduit there on the wall, back to the wall. It's got the self-adhesive sticky on the back, which is not very good. So I need to apply a bit more glue to it. But I can do that.